all the games I used to play in my younger, wilder days. The game of clubs and tees had never crossed my mind. But after some discussion with my closest, dearest friends,
welcome in to the last episode of 2020 for the Turn Fantasy Golf Podcast. My name is Andrew Putters. I'm here with my buddy, senior editor at Rotoballer.com, Joe Nicely. Thanksgiving's over, Joe. We had a week off. It's time we take a breath. We've been able to recoup. It's a little bit different this year, with families not, really getting out. But you know what? Golf is still on. This is our last tournament of the year here. So we're going to finish strong. In saying that, how you doing, Joe? How was your Thanksgiving?
Doing good, man. Good to talk to you. It feels like we haven't got to do this in a while, but had a good Thanksgiving, a little bit different. We just hung out at home, basically. Just me, my wife, and daughter. Just did our own small little thing. Kind of tried to be safe and do the smart thing, and we enjoyed it though. It was nice. Really looking forward to getting back into golf this week. Going down to Mayakoba, last one of 2020. So we appreciate y'all joining us for it, and we're going to give it our best to try to close out strong.
That's right. Let's go ahead and hit it. Last 2 weeks ago, RSM Classic, Robert Streb beat Kevin Kisner in a playoff. Robert Streb basically had the lead for the last 27 holes. Kisner came on strong, tied him up there at the end. Streb took him down on the first hole. We did not talk about Robert Streb. We probably never will. Journeyman at best. Kevin Kisner, though, I mean, that golf course fit him, and I'm going to give a shout out, pat myself on the back with the old heart play. Zach Johnson, top 10, triple bogey on number 7 on the final round, or else he'd have been right there in the thick of it. But still top 10. So if you got any on him, you did well. RSM Classic's over. Let's go ahead and knock out the last tournament of the year. Like you said, the Mayakoba Golf Classic at El Calamillon Golf Club down in Mexico. This is known and very, very famously known as Mexico's first PGA golf tournament down there. So there's a lot of pride in that country. The golf course down there is par 71, 7,000 yards basically. Joe, what do you know? What can you tell us about this golf course that our viewers aren't going to know, because this golf tournament, to tell you the truth, is not that well known?
Yeah, it's kind of a smaller event, kind of a swing season staple. Obviously as DFS has grown over the last couple of years, it's a tournament we've been paying attention to. It's kind of become a staple on the fall event schedule. But yeah, man, like a lot of tournaments this year, this field is stronger. So we got guys like JT, Brooks Koepka, Tony Finau, some really big names heading down to Mexico for this event. So definitely not just a throwaway tournament. Definitely not an ugly field by any means. It's one that we should be able to have a pretty good fun slate with. So looking forward to diving into it. The golf course, man, just a little bit over 7,000 yards. Plays really short. Like a couple of other that we've seen recently, Bermuda comes to mind. Shriners, Corrales comes to mind. These short hitters have a legitimate chance to win here. As you mentioned before, it's kind of one that these guys circle on their calendars as one they're able to compete at because of the length. So really the whole field's in play. Distance is almost no advantage this week. Very rarely the case on the PGA Tour anymore, but I feel pretty safe in saying that this week. We want guys that are accurate off the tee, great ball strikers, good with their irons, that can hit lots of greens, and the guy that wins it's going to need to get hot with the putter. Probably going to be around 20 under par at least, maybe more with this stronger field. So that's kind of some things you can look for this week: accuracy off the tee. Accuracy with the irons, get hot with the putter, man. The whole field's in play this week, Andrew.
Absolutely. We just run down the former winners here. I got it right here. Former winners here at this golf course: Brendan Todd last year, Matt Kuchar, Patton Kazire, Pat Perez, Graham McDowell, Charlie Hoffman, Harris English, Johnny Huff, Johnson Wagner, Cameron Beckman, Mark Wilson, Brian Gay, Fred Funk. Those first three winners defined hitting it straight. Fred Funk, Brian Gay, Mark Wilson. They were straight hitters at worst. Yeah, the whole field is definitely in play. But like you said, what people need to think about is you can look at tournament history of this golf tournament, and it might be a little bit false. Some of the things are going to come out a little false because, once again, stronger field. That being said, let's get right into the field. Let's go 10K and above. JT, Kepka, Finau, Berger, English, star-studded. Not really sure. To me, this is bar none. The guy at the top deserves top billing, bar none, easily. Probably very easily the favorite in this tournament, JT at 11-4, but that is an awfully hefty price to pay. So where's your eyes on the top five?
Yeah, like you said, man, immediately goes to JT up at the top, and it's not particularly close in my opinion this week. He's certainly the player in this field, kind of head and shoulders above the rest, even with a guy like Brooks and Tony in there. I think you have to, with JT's game, which is a game that travels to any type of layout, and with his recent form, he feels head and shoulders above the rest of this field. He's a lead in every area. The only thing that's been holding him back, and probably the reason he doesn't have several more wins this year, is a putter that can run cold. So that's something, we're always just going to have to kind of contend with, deal with him, hope for the best in some respects in that area. But he's certainly got the game to hit tons of fairways, as good of an iron player as there is on the PGA Tour. So, yeah, you mentioned he's the favorite. I saw this morning he's coming in at 6-1 right now in the odds. So heavy favorite. It's always hard to say, guys, I'm going to go out and win a golf tournament, Andrew, but I certainly think if you want to spend up, he's head and shoulders above the rest of the field. So I'll be starting a lot of lineups with JT this week. Brooks, great player. We've talked about him several times on this show. He's a big game hunter. I don't know that this falls into that category. I don't know how concerned he's going to be about Mayakoba. But he does appear to be healthy. Finally played well at Houston in the lead up to the Masters, and then played well at the Masters, had a T7 there. So we can kind of check that box for Brooks. He does at least appear healthy. But we have to wonder how up he's going to be for this thing. Tony Finau destroyed us at the Masters, the worst I've seen him play in quite a while, and a lot of it boiled down to the putter, which was bad. He does have some experience in this tournament, so you can kind of look at that a little bit. But, if I'm spending up for Tony, I'm just going to go all the way up to JT. Berger, I think, is a great option, maybe a little bit contrarian option up there if you want to pivot away from Tony or JT. Just consistently knocking out great finishes, man. You just always have to like Daniel Berger. You feel like this is a course where he can play well since he's not truly a bomber anyway. And then Harris English, man, just about as consistent as it gets, a former winner here. Finished 5th here last year. That kind of kicked off his strong run of play, and he's just been killing it throughout 2020, dating back to last fall. He's made 20 of 25 cuts, knocking out top 10s left and right, and one of the most consistent players on the PGA Tour. So there's certainly some strong options up here. I think you can go up here this week if you want to. We'll get into it as we move down the salary scale, but there's some decent options as we work our way down. But certainly JT stands head and shoulders above the rest for me. What's your thoughts up there, Andrew?
Absolutely. No questions asked. JT or nothing up there. If you're going to go up there, I personally, as you know, most likely do not and cannot go that high this week because we might be better off just picking 6 random guys in the 7K and hoping they finish in the top 10. I mean, a lot like the RSM, the guys up top did not come through. And not saying that this isn't going to be a Berger Thomas final group, because it very easily could be. They're my 2 favorite players up there by far. But I really just can't see it, with the scores that we're going to see this week. It doesn't make sense for me to put those guys up there. That's all I can really say about that. Beyond that, I mean, my lineup might be starting to. Is there too much pride at stake playing the 9,900 man?
He's a good option, man. He was my horse this week and my horse for the course article. Obviously, he's from Mexico, native of down there. Has played really, really well. Looked good in the Masters. Surprised us. Kind of came out of nowhere in his debut at Augusta National. Had a T13, but that really doesn't do justice to how well he played. He was in contention in that thing all the way up until the final day. I think he shot a 76 in the final round and kind of tumbled down. But he's played extremely well as of late and has played extremely well at this golf course. Obviously very familiar with it. Going to be the kind of the hometown favorite. So, I mean, I think you have to consider Answer. He's a really solid play, but they've got him priced above some really good players, Andrew. You got Victor Hovland there at 9,700. He's not fared well yet in this tournament, has missed 2 cuts here. Kind of started his career out down here. So, you can kind of consider that. But he's a tremendous ball striker. I prefer him on longer layouts and harder layouts, but he can certainly go out there and play well. Has the ability to rack birdies up. And then another guy you want to talk about, a ball striker, is Russell Henley there at 9,300. A guy that we just can continue to ride and that I'll be back on again this week. The ball striking's there. The tee to green game is there. We just need the putter to cooperate. So I think you can certainly look at Henley. Zalatoris is a superstar in the making. He hits the ball tremendously, a great iron player. I think he's kind of losing a little bit of an advantage because of how short this course is. His game, I think, plays a little bit better on longer courses. But you can certainly look at Will Zalatoris there. Then you've got a couple of guys that are kind of ball striking extraordinaires with spotty putters in Neiman and Connors. Connors is certainly in great form, has 2 top 10s in his last 3 starts. So I think you can definitely look at Connors and even consider Neiman there. So you can start your lineup out, Andrew, if you don't feel like playing all the way up. I think you can pop 2 9K guys in there and start out that way. Maybe pivot off JT and GPPs if you want to try to be a little bit different. Because I think there's some guys as we get down into the 7Ks that we can stick in there. But I think you can definitely start out with 2 9K guys if you want to. Who do you like in there? What's your favorite plays in the 9?
Statistically, you got, I think, Answer, Henley are going to be the best. I would almost, for some reason, I've told you this in the past, Connors and me just hadn't get along. It's because he was so bad. His all summer long, he struggled with his putter so bad, and I just couldn't trust that. So, but I wouldn't go without putting Joaquin Needham. I put him and Answer really about the same type of player. Maybe Answer has a little bit more consistency about him overall. So I put them together. But I'm actually going to go a little contrarian here in this price range and would consider, cannot believe I'm saying this out loud, Ricky Fowler. And the main reason I will be saying that is because I don't think he'll be owned at all. And also shorter, maybe he gets hot with the putter. I mean, it's going to take 20-something under to win. But, so, I mean, there's really not a difference between JT shooting 15 under and Ricky shooting 15 under, except Ricky cost $2,000 less in your budget. So that's why. And Ricky,
he's got good course history here too.
Yeah.
I kind of popped over Ricky just because I've not been playing him, man. But I hear what you're saying. It's definitely kind of an interesting pivot spot there with Ricky. He had a second place finish here in 2017. Had a top 22 years ago here. So, I mean, it's certainly a place he can go out and play well. And we've seen him play well in spots, but it's just been so inconsistent. But like you said, it's kind of an interesting pivot spot there with Ricky at 95, who I don't think anybody's going to be on.
Yeah. He'll probably be that, what's that, they call it, that guy that you're not supposed to be playing, but I am anyway. He's my guy right there.
Right.
Don't
Yeah.
really. I can't put my finger on it. Most time when I make these calls, I can't put my finger on it, but I still do anyway. So that's why I'm on. That's why I would throw him out there. Dropping down in the eights. Man, there's a lot of guys that you could see finishing top 5, and a lot of guys that wouldn't surprise you if they missed the cut either. I'm gonna throw 2 names at you that really stick out to me. Sebastian Munoz, which we have now confirmed he's the real deal, and Brian Harmon in this 8,000. A lot of talent in this 8,000 group. Those are the 2 guys that stick out to me. Fire back at me, Joe.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything at all wrong with those 2 plays. Just kind of surprisingly, neither have played well here in the past. That's my only concern. There's not great course history, and it's really surprising that Brian Harmon's not. This course seems kind of tailor-made for him. But he's made the cut, made the last 4 cuts in his last 4 starts here, but just no top 25s, nothing to note as far as good finishes. Carlos Ortiz won in Houston a few weeks ago. It feels like forever ago. We hadn't got to talk to you guys in a while, but Carlos Ortiz won the run-up to the Masters there in Houston, and he tied for second here last year. He's an extremely spotty, inconsistent player, very streaky, but he's also from Mexico like Answer, so he's a guy you can maybe consider at 8,900. I like your call on Munoz and Harmon. And a guy that always makes us sick, it's just totally grosses us out, is Emiliano Grillo, who's actually played really, really well on this golf course, has very strong course history, couple of top 10s here in the past 4 years. Also had a T15, I think. So, 3 of his last 4 starts here have been excellent. And he's been showing some form, man. Looked really good as of late. And these greens this week are past Palom, which is something we very rarely see on the PGA Tour. The only 2 other courses that are regular stops that have that is Corrales and Puerto Rico. And in addition to his good course history here, Grillo had a top 25 at Corrales a little while ago, and he finished 3rd in Puerto Rico earlier this year. So we know he's a horrible putter. We know he can't put it into the ocean, but maybe he likes this surface. When we look at his results in those other events and his course history here, he's a guy you might want to consider. And Charles Howell III, just a grinder, kind of has his name all over this course. When we look at some past winners, Brendan Todd, Matt Kuchar, Graham McDowell, from a narrative standpoint, you could definitely see Charles Howell III kind of fitting right in with those guys, and he's got excellent course history here. So that's kind of what I'm thinking in the 8s. Like you said, a lot of intriguing plays, a lot of guys that could finish well. I mean, the winner could come from here, but you could also see the majority of these guys in the 8s missing the cut or kind of not doing much this week. So it's a tough range, the 8s.
7,000s, Joe. 7,000s. A lot of guys that we love to play in this price range. I'm gonna just start right here at the top. HV3, Harold Varner III. We love to talk about him. 7,800. Ches Reavy. We love to talk about him. 7,700. Going down through here, Brian Gay, former winner. How's he? 7,500. I mean, I guess I know he won a few weeks back, but I mean, he probably hasn't been priced above 6,500 in the last 2-3 years. Who else is in the 7s? Kevin Strillman. Ooh, that's a sneaky play there, Kevin Strillman.
That's an Andrew special right there.
He is an Andrew special. Second place, 21 under, calling it right now. It's Kevin Strillman. Because whenever he gets hot, man, he goes low. I don't know what it is, but dude goes low. Another former winner, Johnny Huh. Oh, most disappointing player of the RSM Classic, Denny McCarthy's 7,400. I think he just had maybe a little out of fatigue and was just over it. Because I mean that tournament, that course set up perfect for him. Missed the cut.
Yeah, very disappointing. I was on Denny. I think you can go back to him. I'm just kind of always comfortable riding him in these shorter layouts, birdie fest events. I'll take my chances with one of the best putters on the PGA Tour. Like a couple guys that you mentioned, Brian Gay's price is gross, but I mean, I think he's the guy you kind of got to consider coming off a win in Bermuda a few weeks ago. And up towards the top, Patton Kazire is a former winner here, and he's been playing really well. My only concern is that he's doing it all with the putter. So, I mean, I think you'll hear some buzz on him throughout the week, but I'm a little concerned that he's doing most of it with the putter. One of your guys, man, who I'm gonna shout out this week is Scott Piercy at 7,900. He's been playing really well, Andrew. I know you roster him a lot, and he's been paying that off for you lately, and he's got great course history here. So the price I wish was a little bit cheaper, but I'm going to give Scott Piercy a look. Another one of my guys is Adam Long. Played really well here last year, and has played some good golf in spurts. And then I'm going to drop down, man, in kind of that mid sevens. A couple guys I really like right there together. Russell Knox is a absolute course history beast on this layout. Has a runner-up and a third since 2017. The irons are going in the right direction. He's played well. Had a top 10 at the Safeway, top 16s at Houston and Bermuda. So I think you can definitely look at Russell Knox there. And then Sepp Straka. Kind of surprised to see him at 76, really. Kind of thought he would be in the low eights with some of the performances he's put up lately. He just makes a lot of birdies, man. Just a solid player that makes a lot of birdies. So those two guys definitely stick out. And then as we go into the low sevens, I think there's some guys we can really consider when you start talking about wanting to get Justin Thomas in your lineup or maybe stacking a couple of 9K guys. Doug Gim is a young player who's finally coming around. He came out of college with a lot of hype and kind of failed, but he's looked really good this season. So I think you can look at him. And then our guy, man, he just kind of continues to roll right along. Is Peter Malnati at 73. The course history isn't great here, but it wasn't great at RSM, and he ended up playing good there. I just think he's in maybe the best form of his career right now. So I'm fine rolling with Peter Malnati pretty heavy this week. You got any thoughts on him?
So top 5 DraftKings value based on salary. JT number 1, Corey Connors number 2, Malnati number 3 at 7,300. And this is over the last 24 rounds. Now, here's what I'm going to say about Malnati. We know that his game, he's obviously played well this fall. We know that in history, he's always played well in the fall compared to the spring. My thoughts are, is it possible, though, that he's already peaked? His game's peaked. Not saying it has, but let's just say, because he's definitely not a superstar. Good player, not a superstar. Has his game peaked? I mean, because you're going to have to make a lot of birdies. But barring none, this golf course sets up perfect for Pete Malnati. Man, is probably one of the best, probably top 5 putter on tour, I would say. Just below you, number 5 points gained based on salary is the David, how'd you pronounce his name? Gim?
Doug Gim.
Doug Gim. He's 5th, 7,400. Love his game. If he gets hot with his issue is he's got to get a little better with the putter. Other than that, I mean, he's right there. And number 4, most value play based on salary is the guy that we love to hate and is right below the sevens, and a guy that we will not be rostering this week because this golf course is not set up for him. And he's the sickest man in DraftKings history. Who is it? Will Gordon.
Yeah.
Will Gordon, 6,800. I don't know, man. Can't get on Will Gordon in this tournament, not on this golf course. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, it doesn't scream out Will Gordon. I mean, it's going to be a birdie fest, but you kind of think of him on par 5s is where he does a lot of his damage, it seems. So I don't know that it's a Will Gordon week. And honestly, man, even though there's a lot of names that we know down here in the 6s as we go down, I don't know that there's a lot of guys I'm in a big hurry to roster, to be honest with you, Andrew. I mean, there's certainly some guys that can play well. Kind of got a mix of veterans down there and a mix of young guys. We got some amateurs. Andy Ogletree, straight out of Georgia Tech, was a low am at the Masters. He's turning pro, making his pro debut this week. He's 6,700. I mean, maybe that's a young guy you take a shot on. I'm always going to be buying a Wes Brown buyer at 6,600. So I'm in on that. Brandon Steele, not really his type of track. Like you were saying about Will Gordon, it's just not a great fit, even though he's a talented guy. But you want him where he can take advantage of his ability off the tee, and that's not really this week. So, I mean, other than Wesley Bryan down there, who everybody probably gets sick of hearing me talk about, I don't know that I'll have a ton of exposure to anybody down in the sixes this week.
The only guy I could even see Ross from down here in the sixes. I mean, obviously you said Ogletree, Steele, and Ogilvy, Steele, Wesley Bryan. What about what's this guy you put me on about 3 months ago? Is it Zung Zang Zing? How you say his name?
Zanjun Zhang.
Yeah, Zing Zung Zhang. I mean, that's pretty low
we
price.
We also got Zanjun Zhang, and we got your boy Affy Barnrat in the field also.
Yep. Yeah, I mean they can shoot low numbers, but we just need to see more of the game. I wouldn't be scared to throw a little Troy Merritt in there. I mean, he's played well at times.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, man. For me, I mean, there's definitely guys down here that you might want to grab a little bit of exposure to in GPPs. There just aren't any put all your eggs in one basket guys for me this week down here. We didn't mention Camille Vajegas at 7. Really great story, man. Such a sad thing with his daughter, what happened, her passing away earlier this year, and was really, really happy to see him play well at RSM. He was kind of a phenom at one time. It would be really cool to see him get back on track. But it's not really a fluky thing, man. He's been playing excellent golf from tee to green, kind of throughout the fall. Just has been absolutely horrendous with the putter, but kind of had everything going there at RSM. So Mike can give Vajegas a look. Bryce Garnett at 7K is a course history beast. Even though it's one of those things where we feel like the field's stronger this week. But if you're down there fishing around the 7K mark, you might want to give Bryce Garnett a look. Yeah, man, to kind of touch back on the sixes, there's guys down there that you wouldn't mind getting some exposure to in GPPs because they do have upside. There's some legitimate top 5 upside down there amongst those guys. But there's just not anybody I'm all in on. Nobody I want to be targeting outside of Wesley Bryant to a lesser extent than normal. I'll always be grabbing some shares of him, especially at this price and this type of field. Feel like he's a really good player and shown some good form, even though he let us down the last time we rostered him. But outside of that, man, not many down here that I'll be targeting. Even though you can get JT in there and work in the 7s because there's a lot of workable players in that range this week. Or you can double up in the 9s if you'd rather, and then go to the 7s. So I mean, I think you can build some lineups that you like this week, Andrew. It's just kind of picking which direction you want to go in.
Yeah. So on the way out, Joe, where's your heart at this week? Where's the heart plays landed on for Joe Nicely?
Man, my heart play, it's kind of weird. I don't know why, but I keep coming back to that kind of mid 7K range, man. Like Scott Piercy, Russell Knox, Sepp Straka. Those 3 right in there. My heart's telling me that I like Harris English too, up at the top. For some reason, I'm always a Henley guy, but I think JT should win this golf tournament. It's easy to say that, I guess, but the guy has played so good. Had a look in the U.S. Open, didn't get there. Had a look in the Masters, didn't get there. Has been in contention multiple times where he could have won golf tournaments, and the putter just lets him down. So maybe JT finally just catches a hot button week and just runs away with this thing, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so hard to put, like you said, it's so easy to say that, but yet the golf course is easy, so it brings more people in the field.
Yeah, I mean, it's golf, and that's what's you look at this, and JT should dominate this course, this field. But like you said, it's just tough, man, because it is golf. But I think as far as dominance, JT's the one guy in this field that has a chance to just absolutely dominate this week. So, I mean, I think that's worth a lot when you're building rosters. If you've got a guy you feel like can legitimately run away with the field, you have to give him a look. So, I'll be starting a lot of lineups with JT this week.
I got you. I'm gonna have the same. I'm gonna have 3 guys in every lineup, Joe, this week. So that's where my heart's gonna be around. Munoz, Streelman, Answer is gonna be in every lineup I build. That's where my heart's gonna be around. I'm predicting Streelman top 5. This golf course, this just screams him for whatever reason.
I like it, man. We've seen him get really hot in a couple of tournaments this year, so
yeah,
I definitely like that call.
So Munoz, Streelman, Answers for me.
I'm probably gonna be going JT and then dropping down, stacking 7K guys. As of right now, obviously I put multiple lineups in. That's what I've been doing lately. So, I mean, I'll diversify that a little bit and mix things up. But the way it's looking for me right now is just grab JT and try to stack some 7K guys in there because there's a lot to like in the 7s, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, it might not be bad to stack 6, 7K guys in there and see what happens. I mean, with a golf course like this, that so many people are in the field, literally 100 people this week have a chance to win, which we don't say that much on the PGA Tour. So,
yeah, and we've ran into it puts you in a tough spot. We ran into this a couple times in Bermuda. Maybe we should have seen Brian Gay coming, but I specifically remember us talking about that's one of those layouts where it brings the whole field into play. We talked about that at the Shriners. Brings the whole field into play. Guys like Kevin Na, Brian Gay, Brendan Todd. And that's where we are this week in Mayakoba. There's not really any guys in the field that we can rule out because of the distance, and it's a less than driver track. So just very, very tough to peg these. I usually like to try to lean on course history a little bit more than I normally do, just to see what guys have kind of taken to the course. So that's something you can look at, but yeah, man, overall very tough just because the whole field's in play.
Absolutely. All right, Joe, this is it for 2020. Everybody, we want to thank you for letting us come into your cars, your houses, your TVs, your computers, where it is you're listening to us. If you like what you heard, please share with your friends, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, where it is you're listening or watching. And we can officially say this. It has been our honor to bring you this show, and in the 2021 season, it will be bigger and better than it was this year. We were learning on the go. First few weeks, we're just trying to put this stuff online. We had zero idea, So anyway, my name is Andrew Putters, and this is my partner, Joe Nicely. And like I said, we thank you, and we promise you to be bigger and better. Joe, you want to say anything on the way out with Rotoballer?
Yeah, man, just to echo what you said, Andrew, we really appreciate you guys checking us out. The Corona thing was obviously horrible in a lot of ways, but kind of a little silver lining for us was that we had time to try to put this podcast together, and we really enjoyed doing it. Huge thank you to our sponsor, Rotoballer. They've been so good to us. They're going to bring us back for 2021. So like Andrew said, we're going to have bigger and better things ready for you. Got some turn stickers left. Hit us up on Twitter if you want some of those. We're going to try to get some merch for next year, some hats, T-shirts, whatever. We're working on that over the next few weeks. So thank you all very much for watching. And like Andrew said, like and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter.
Absolutely. Talk to you later, Joe.
See you, man.
I've already hit 3